The setting for the French Open tennis tournament and for boxing. We are outdoors at the Parc des Princes Stadium, and we welcome you. Hi, everybody. Marv Albert, along with the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. We have boxing coming up here on Sports World. IBF Junior Middleweight Champion Carlos Santos defending that title. He comes in at 27-1, 19 by knockout. He'll be going against Louis Acaries. He is the one-time European champion from Algeria who has become a huge favorite here in Paris, something that you can certainly relate to as one who has become a cult figure to Frenchmen within the space of, what, 2-3 days?
That's true, but nothing like Acaries. The Paris crowd is convinced that he is going to be the next world champion. And, of course, this crowd is going to play a big factor, as it will certainly steam up Acaries to do his best.
They expect in the area of 18,000 to show up for the fight. It should also be pointed out that the officials will be neutral. All three judges from the United States and the referee, Larry Hazzard, also from the States.
And as always, it's going to be settled inside that ring. It'll be Santos with his great gliding skill as a boxer against the rugged, tough Acaries coming forth, trying to take the crown away from Santos. The classic confrontation, a boxer against a puncher.
We'll be back to take a closer look at Santos and Acaries from the Parc des Princes in Paris, France, as NBC Sports World continues. Today, and the French Open tennis tournament underway, so particularly busy for NBC Sports. Dick Enberg and Bud Collins calling the shots at the French Open. Dick, awfully nice of you to stop by here, despite, I know, a very busy schedule.
Somebody has to do it, Marv. Bonjour.
Bonjour to you. And any surprises that took place at the French Open today?
Well, the first week about completed, and to the top 16, really no major upsets. Martina Navratilova, the defending champion, won again today in straight sets. Things are going according to form.
But I understand there was a slight flare-up place.
Well, there was a most interesting moment today at center court at Roland Garros. Jimmy Connors, he's tennis's answer to a fighter's dream. He's a scrapper, and he digs in against all of his opponents. And today against a 20-year-old Frenchman, Tariq Benaboulis, they were in the middle of the third set. Each had won a set, and Dustin, the eye of Connors, the chair umpire, chose to penalize Connors. Here's what happened. Oh, my, at 3-4 in the third set at deuce, a penalty point assessed by umpire Joseph Makar.
You want me to play with dirt in my eyes? Do you? Do you want me to play when I'm not even seeing the ball? You want me to play when I don't even see the ball? If you want me to play when I don't even see the ball, then you take the match and you stick it. If that sticks, I quit. If that sticks, stands. The serious possibility I'm not going to continue this match. And if you're going to continue that, you find me anything you want. But then, that's going to be terrible trouble, I'm telling you.
The call stuck. Connors stayed. Now, match point. Benaboulis serving. Third-seeded Jimmy Connors prevails 6-3, 4-6, 7-5, 7-5. Connors advances to the final 16 of the 1985 French Open.
NBC's coverage of the French Open will get underway tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. What is the feature match?
Well, Marvin, you know, an American has now won in Paris incredibly for 30 years, and John McEnroe's the #1 seed. We'll feature him tomorrow against Henrik Sundström, the top Swede, one of their Davis Cuppers. I know the fans will enjoy that. Have a good one. Let's see, you in Puerto Rico, Reno. Do you know where you are now?
Let me see, Dick. Today is... let me check my airline ticket.
An American tradition continues. He was the first player in the National League to be named MVP for 2 consecutive seasons. He is Chicago's Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks. Now MVP Ryne Sandberg leads the Cubs as they face the Pirates, or the Dodgers meet the Braves. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
Welcome back to Parc des Princes in Paris, France. Marv Albert, Ferdy Pacheco, and we're closing in on fight time with Louis Acaries of Algeria, a big favorite here in France, getting set to take on IBF junior middleweight champion Carlos Santos of Puerto Rico. The biggest win of Santos' career last November, taking an exciting 15-round decision in an action-packed bout with Vidal, surprising Vidal with an aggressive performance, and Carlos came up with the upset win. In his last fight this past March, it was Santos over Dwight Tiger Walker by virtue of a majority decision. So Santos has won 9 in a row, extending his record to 27-1. And today he faces Louis Acaries, who was involved in a strange affair in his last outing back in December. It was former champion Davey Moore with a clear-cut edge over Acaries as they battle their way to round number 9. A round that ended with Moore landing after the bell, a flagrant foul that led to Moore being disqualified. Although flat on his back, Acaries awarded the victory in a bizarre turn of events. The Fight Doctor talked with Acaries and Santos about today's fight.
Champ, you're going to be fighting with a Frenchman before a large French audience. Does that affect the way you fight?
Bueno, yo pienso que venir a Francia a pelear un campeonato en sí no hay problema, y sí, por la decisión, ¿ve? Porque como estoy entre los franceses...
That's a chance you have to take. When you come to France to fight before Frenchmen, the only way to solve the problem is to knock out your opponent.
What do you see as a decisive factor between you and your opponent which will give you the victory?
Bueno, ya que yo he visto a Acaries,
I think my speed and maneuverability in the opening rounds will be the decisive factor. Acaries, if he doesn't get off at the beginning rounds, just tightens up and doesn't fight for the rest of the fight.
Luis, you won by disqualification with Davey Moore. Was that a disappointment to you? Did you think you were going to win anyway?
Yes, I would have won before the limit because Davey Moore was worn out completely by the 9th round.
Okay.
How do you fight a Carlos Santos, a man that doesn't come to fight like Davey Moore, but comes to box and runs a lot?
C'est un combat très différent, mais il faudra trouver la solution. Je me suis préparé.
It's a fight completely different than Davey Moore, but I have the solution.
And we'll soon learn whether Louis Acaries has the solution. Louis Acaries has made his way to the ring here in Paris. Record of 39-5, 19 by knockout. 27 of his 44 fights have taken place here in Paris. And Carlos Santos now headed toward the ring. 29 years old, Puerto Rico. He represented Puerto Rico in the 1976 Olympics, fighting then as a welterweight. Record of 27-1, and only loss, he dropped a 15-round decision to Wilfred Benitez. In 1981 at the time, Benitez was the WBC junior middleweight champion. That a poor performance by Santos, who ran around the ring for 15 rounds doing Zippo. So here is Carlos Santos, who has won his last 9 fights, 5 of the 9 by knockout. He is the IBF junior middleweight champion. And Louis Acaries says he will not be bothered by the unorthodox style of Santos, which includes the shifting from side to side, the circling, and the southpaw stance. Santos and Acaries in the ring and ready. We'll be back right after these messages. Championship last year, and this stadium can hold 50,000 for boxing. The capacity for today, 24,000. They expect in the range of 17, 18, and they are here to root for Louis Acaries out of Algeria, now living just outside of Paris, as he goes against the IBF junior middleweight champion Carlos Santos. The introduction of Santos.
Contre le Français, Louis Acaries.
And Louis Acaries greeted by the crowd. Acaries weighed in at 154. Santos 153 and a half. Santos has a 2-inch advantage in reach. Carlos Santos, who began his professional career back in May of 1977, opening with a second-round knockout, demonstrated a very hefty left hand in that bout with Mark Vidal last November. Santos repeatedly scoring with the left and effectively went to the body. He also had excellent lateral movement. And Santos, a guy who had been a runner throughout most of his career.
Yeah, that was his problem. He was a fine boxer, but he just didn't have the stamina to stand and punch with someone, so he just boxed and ran around, and consequently he wasn't a great attraction, but he steadily built forth an undefeated record until he had that disastrous meeting with Wilfredo Benitez, which was no big loss in those days because Benitez was very good at that time.
Larry Hazard is the referee. The scoring is on the 10-point must system, handled by the 3 judges: Rudy Battle of Los Angeles, Larry Wallace of New Jersey, Charlie Menker of Las Vegas. No standing 8. There is a mandatory 8. 3 knockdown rule not in effect. The bell does not save the fighter except in the final round.
As we see, Santos came out to pop that jab. He's a left-hander, as you can see. Much more busy than he usually is in the opening stanza, but Acaries living true to form. He just keeps those gloves up, waits for the other guy to get tired, discouraged, or frustrated, and then comes on. Don't expect much from him in this first round because that's just not his style. His corner yelling for Santos to hit those arms, to try to make them come down. Don't just go to the head. He's hitting nothing but those red gloves that you see in front of Acaries' face. A sort of modified Gallic peekaboo style a la Floyd Patterson.
First round scheduled for 15.
A minute which has not seen Luis Acaries throw anything. Well, Santos must have thrown 50 punches. I'll tell you one thing, if Acaries is waiting for Santos to get tired bouncing around like that, he's got enough thought coming, because that's exactly how he fights. Just bouncing up and down, bipping and bopping, not really getting anything hard. Of course, in the meantime, no question about it, he builds up points. It is his championship. You do have to come get it.
And Acaries just remains in the peekaboo stance. Under a minute left in this first round.
Can you see what the booze would be like? Could you hear the thunderous booze if this were any place but Paris? And Acaries has shown no desire to fight in this first round whatsoever. It's just his style.
And any time he throws a semblance of a punch, the crowd reacts. And that has not happened frequently.
This cannot even be charitably described as a feeling out round. This is more of an anesthetic. It'll put you to sleep if more of these come along. But that's just not Acaries style. Acaries starts in the 3rd or 4th round to unload.
So all Carlos Santos in this first round.
You probably can't guess where you can find all this under one roof. Probably not at the stereo store at the mall. Probably not at the TV shop. Or the computer center across town. You'll find all this at Sears. That's right, Sears.
There's more for your life at Sears.
You go revving along like a well-oiled machine until it's time to wait.
1 potato, 2 potato,
3 potato.
1 potato.
5 potato. 6 potato.
3
7 potato. 8 potato.
But at 7-Eleven, you get what you want, fast. No one keeps you revving like 7-Eleven.
And this is round 2. Louis Acaries in the white, Carlos Santos in the white with the red trim. And Santos has done all the punching to this point. And Santos landing with the right hand.
But the way he holds his gloves at Acaries, he doesn't land on much but the top of his head and some of that glove. So he is protecting his nose, his eyes, his chin. Nothing of consequence is being hit. Building up points, true, but not sapping the strength nor doing any damage to the challenger. Acaries' trainer, Chuck Talhamid of Miami, was telling me he's got him trained to go to the body when things start to get tough in the 3rd and 4th round. So far, he hasn't even shown a whisper of an inclination to go to the body, much less the head. Santos' corner has been telling him hit the arms or at least hit the flanks, hit the side.
Low blow from Carlos Santos.
And right on the job, Larry Hazard, who controls the fight just about as good as anybody refereeing today.
Halfway mark. Round 2. Louis Acaries has been very selective with his punches, landing several times here in the 2nd round and then hearing it from the crowd. Crowd at this point overreacting.
Out of desperation, I would think. The fact remains that as Carlos just bips and bops, as Santos just moves around, he gets a little tired, he gets a little frustrated, and above all, he gets careless. At that careless moment, in 2 or 3 occasions, Acaries has been able to land a flush on the jaw.
Nice combination by Santos. Continues to shift from side to side. Well, Louis Acaries, in his brief talk with you, said he had the solution to beating Carlos Santos. We have seen no signs of a solution to this point unless he feels he can just wait it out and then strike later on.
His solution must be to bore Carlos Santos to death, along with the audience, but that's not the case. That's just the way he fights. Do not lose track of the fact that he will come on in the 3rd and 4th and 5th round and start fighting.
Final seconds, round 2.
Listen to the symphony of features only Renault Alliance offers. Only Renault Alliance gives you all this European technology with 550 Plus, America's best small car protection, and 8.5, America's lowest factory financing. Prices start at $59.95. Renault.
Most people don't know what their auto insurance covers until it's too late. Ask a Prudential agent for a Pru review.
Don't believe it! Well, believe it or not, I don't think we're covered. Not covered? But we must be. But what if we're not? You had a Pru review. I did. I mean, I know my car would be covered.
Get a piece of the rock. Get Prudential's Pru review. It's fast and free.
He sure needs a facelift.
Marv Albert with the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. We're at the Parc des Princes Stadium in Paris. Paris, very busy time for sports fans these days. The French Open underway nearby. Boxing here, drawing in the area of 15,000 as Carlos Santos defends his IBF junior middleweight title against Louis Acaries.
Acaries bending down, and therefore the champion saw a shot at an uppercut, which he landed on the forehead of Luis Acaries. Nothing is happening below the eyebrows. He keeps them covered with those red gloves.
And Santos right back after Acaries landed, which got the crowd going.
Santos trying to pay more attention to that body, but it is difficult to hit, and he's been landing some low blows, which got by Larry Hazard. Santos still on his toes, moving from side to side, giving him all kind of motion and very little to hit.
Just past the halfway mark. This is round 3. Oh, good right hand by Acaries. His best blow of the bout.
That's what we were describing. That's what he waits for. He waits for frustration to build up, carelessness on the part of the champion, and all of a sudden, he lets fly one of his hard punches. Of course, that doesn't make up for the 25 he took before that on the judges' scorecards. Still, he's gambling that his punch will be big enough to either stop the champion or make him change his way of fighting.
Acaries with the left hand.
When's the last time you saw a left jab draw applause like that? A simple little left jab, and it began to roar.
Crowd cheering for the hometown favorite, Luis Acaries, as this third round comes to a close.
There's only one Super Bowl of cereal, and there's only one taste that makes it the super taste of Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Just think of crispy golden flakes.
Delicious, crunchy flakes of corn.
So pure and simple, just can't wait.
Low in sugar, loaded with vitamins and iron.
So good for you, don't hesitate.
For a Super Bowl of our most nutritious corn flakes ever.
What a Super Bowl. Have yourself a Super Bowl. Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Super taste, super good. Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Come on, America. Drive over for Firestone's computerized Master Care engine tune-up.
America's driving to Firestone.
And engine repair guesswork. Firestone's mastermind computer. Quick, thorough, gives you a printout. Nationwide warranty. Now, Master Care tune-up only $34.95.
Driving force is Firestone.
And new tracks on sale from $29.95. The long mileage radial America needs. The price America wants.
Firestone.
And this is round 4. Most unusual way that the rounds get underway here.
Yeah,
with the gong sound rather than the bell.
Sounds like the last wars of Fu Manchu. It's a gong that sounds, and you expect to see people come out with a tray of French or Chinese hors d'oeuvres. Back to the same thing that carried the first 3 for the champion, Carlos Santos. I just leaned over and said to Wilfredo Gomez, who's working in the corner, why doesn't he go more to the body? And Gomez says he doesn't have to. He's winning every round easy this way, and he can go 15 just like this.
Carlos Santos continuing to paint Luis Acaries. Santos at 27-1, 19 by knockout. His only loss coming a 15-round decision to Wilfredo Benitez back in 1981. He had that impressive victory over Mark Madal at the Felt Forum at Madison Square Garden in New York last November. A stirring fight, selected as Fight of the Year by KO Magazine. Certainly one of the better fights of 1984, with Santos pulling off a surprise in a furious bout. His last last fight, back in March in Atlantic City, scoring a majority decision over Dwight Tiger Walker in a non-title affair. So this is the first defense of his IBF Junior Middleweight Championship.
I don't know about Santos. He has just been flailing away. Nobody can do that 3 minutes of every round and not take a little breather. He is now beginning to miss badly, is Carlos Santos. He's just throwing punches without regard for any counter-punching on the part of the challenger, Luis Acaries. Acaries maintaining his poise, patience, and continuing to be just another heavy bag that Carlos Santos is punching.
And we're coming up on 15 seconds left. This is the fourth round. And Acaries delivering to the hip of Santos. Final seconds. Round 4.
I like Krylon spray paint. Look, Krylon goes on smooth, professional. 12 minutes later, Krylon's dry to the tackle. An hour later, the other one's still wet. Krylon for a smooth, fast, professional finish.
Water beating on your car means your wax is still working. In tests, Rain Dance keeps water beating long after the other leading wax falls flat. Use longer lasting Rain Dance and you won't have to wax so often.
They say the best ones are the hard ones. These you don't break. You try to reach an agreement. And when you do, you head for the mountains. Bush. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream, for a taste as smooth as its name. Bush. Head for Bush beer. Head for the mountain.
Back at Parc des Princes Stadium, Paris, France. This is round 5. It is scheduled for 15. Carlos Santos, 29 years old, out of Puerto Rico. He's the IBF Junior Middleweight Champion. He is now on the right, going up against Luis Acaries, out of Algeria, now living in Paris. And it has been a very passive Acaries to this point. All Santos.
Yes, I would say quite unofficially, but I'd be willing to bet the judges are with me. It's, to this point, a shutout, 40-36. 20 and 30 blows to 1.
And Santos now getting through the gloves of Acaries, who opened up in peekaboo fashion the first 2 rounds. And once again, the crowd getting excited as Acaries is able to occasionally unleash. You saw Santos shake his head saying no effect at all.
I'll tell you what the effect of all those punches are on Carlos Santos. He's not punching with the crisp authority that he began. He certainly has no steam behind punches. He's sort of just letting them fly out there. If he would vary them, just kind of bip along and then every once in a while land something very strong, it could catch Acaries. It's the 5th round, and Acaries better start thinking about doing some fighting if he wants to stay in this fight.
Little backhand maneuver by Santos.
He has been doing that all through this fight. Hazard warned him once, half a warning, said, don't do that. And that's a sign that he's getting a little tired of just punching away. Still in all, The lack of charge and effectiveness of Luis Acaries has costed him these rounds. He cannot hope to win a championship or even a round at this rate.
And coming up on 30 seconds to go in the 5th round. Every so often, Acaries will throw the right hand and land. And now flicking the left out. With Santos right back.
The proof be...
On to round 6. Marv Albert and the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. Is it possible that Louis Acaries, who claimed in the pre-fight interview that he has the solution, although he did not reveal it, is it possible he has Santos where he wants him? Wants Santos to punch himself out? Because if that is his plan, very effective.
He's very effective. Put him to sleep. I'm not sure which, but the audience is certainly must be thinking of catching some shut-eye. If Acaries doesn't start here pretty soon, he'll be so far behind that he can win. He began at the end of that last round to start trading, and this is usually the time when he starts stepping on the gas, and he certainly has opened the round that way. He's done more punching in the first few seconds of this round than he's done previously.
Oh, there's a right hand, although Santos laughed it off, but it did jolt him to the ropes.
Santos is just slowing up from the momentum of so much punching, and his punches have nothing in them, no zip. After all, folks, this is only the 6th round of a 15-rounder. Acaries, however, is taking more blows now fully on the face than he was in the opening rounds when he held those gloves up so tightly to his face that nothing was coming in.
And Acaries with the right hand. Again, the backhanding by Santos, and gets the warning from the referee, Larry Hazard.
It's a mark of a tired fighter, as well as a frustrated fighter. He just hits him every which way, and he backhands him a lot. That was a real sharp, hard punch by Acaries. It didn't hit anything but shoulders, but that's the kind of punch that can put a change in the complexion of this fight.
Less than a minute left, 6th round. Watching what can be labeled touch punching by Carlos Santos, as if he would be scoring points just by making contact.
Yeah, almost like an amateur fight or a sword fight with very light swords. Crowd that has been ready to cheer anything that Acaries has done has had no reason to cheer now for 6 full rounds.
And that will do it for round 6.
Drivers have come to us. They believe in Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm a safe driver, so I shopped around for car insurance. Liberty Mutual gave me the best protection and saved me money, too. I believe in liberty.
America believes in liberty. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Take it all 6 rounds. Don't do anything different. Don't get careless. And above all, keep the pace going just like it's going. I wish I could understand French because I'd like to know what's going on in the other corner.
And this is round 7. And Santos opens by continuing to pop away at Louis Acaries. Now we're hearing some whistles from the crowd here in Paris.
Well, I think it's time for Luis to mount a head-to-head, toe-to-toe kind of attack and try to get this Santos down off his toes, and also in the vain hope of winning one of these rounds.
Whistles indicating the dissatisfaction on the part of the crowd. Not much happening here. Now the crowd looking to get behind Acaries. Acaries aspiring to join just a handful of freshmen who have succeeded in the world of boxing. Only several have hit championship status. Marcel Cerdan, George Carpentier, Marcel Field, among those who have reached those heights.
Well, off his performance tonight, one wonders what in the world was Davey Moore thinking about. How could he have lost a fight to a man that doesn't fight like Luis Acaries? Of course it was, as we know, a controversial decision. He was knocked out after the bell rang.
Actually, the best thing that Acaries did that particular night was stay on the canvas. A wild fight that concluded in a victory for Acaries against Davey Moore when Moore clocked Acaries with a hard right to the jaw after the bell had rung. Ending the 9th round, Moore was disqualified and Acaries declared the winner, although Moore was ahead on the scorecard.
I would imagine well ahead. I understood the managers almost had a better fight after than the fighters had during. But I can't imagine either one of these two guys in with a very large junior middleweight like John Abis Mugabe or anybody else. Good right hand.
Best punch of the fight by Acaries.
And now a little blood on the right brow of Acaries.
Final seconds. Round 7. Things beginning to heat up.
Chrysler creates a hot new laser to melt the competition. The new Laser XT.
When the heat hits the street, it's gonna knock you off your feet. Oh, the payments moving to the beat.
Hotter performance than Mustang SVO, Camaro Z28, Toyota Supra. Chrysler Laser XT. Because the competition is hot, we had to be hotter.
When the heat hits the street.
Being an all-around cowboy isn't always a case of throwing a perfect loop. Sometimes it's a sack of potatoes. And when you're ready for a second opinion, whoosh, head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream, for a taste as smooth as its name. Whoosh.
Well, that was really good. Once more? Sure.
Head for Bush beer.
Head for the mountains.
Great game, Rodney.
On to round 8. And we saw some of the best action of the fight in the 7th round, particularly the final minute of the round.
You're being charitable when you say the best action, maybe the only action. And certainly the only action by the challenger, but we told you this guy likes to come on late. He certainly has accomplished what he set out to do. He's got Carlos just flailing away with no power to his punches, whereas Acaries throws with a great deal of force. It was unquestionably Luis Acaries' best round of the fight. He's got to keep him there. Acaries should have kept Carlos Santos in the corner and gone toe-to-toe with him.
Big right hand by Acaries. as we come up on the midway point of this 8th round. It's scheduled for 15 and nothing at all on the punches of Carlos Santos. Just did connect with an elbow, though, to the head of Acaries.
He's not bouncing as good as he was before. And this guy can bounce for 15 rounds, but...
And Santos not able to shift from side to side as he was in the early rounds.
A stiff jab from Luis Acaries seemed to momentarily bother Carlos Santos. He came down off his toes.
And now the crowd is chanting for Acaries.
Acaries getting very close to Carlos Santos now, so those little short punches of his are beginning to land.
And the chant of Santos from some fans who have made it here from Puerto Rico.
Barbecuing used to be hard work. Bothering with the electric starter, messing with lighter fluid. It was inconvenient. But Matchlight Instant Lighting Charcoal can change all that because Matchlight lights with just a match. You don't need a single drop of lighter fluid. So with Matchlight, instead of having to work hard, you hardly have to work. What could be more convenient?
The Denerex Dandruff Shampoo difference.
On this side, I feel a tingling sensation, and there's no tingling on this side.
Look what you used.
I can't believe it. The Selsun Blue has been my old standby. I've never had this feeling of working sensation as I had with the Denerex.
Each shampoo has one medicine for dandruff. Only Denerex adds extra anti-itch medicine many dermatologists recommend.
I'm not even going to look for anything else. I'm going straight for Denerex.
Denerex Shampoo or Shampoo and Conditioner fights dandruff and its itch with an extra relief medicine.
Round 9, Marv Albert with the fight doctor. Ferdy Pacheco from Parc des Princes Stadium in Paris. It is nighttime here in Paris. Carlos Santos, the IBF junior middleweight champion. On the left, Louis Acaries, big favorite here in France. On the right, Acaries beginning to show some signs.
Good uppercut just in by Acaries. It's unquestionably his technique and formula. If he can pull it off, then he really deserves to be champion, because that means he now has to fight like a fury from round 9 to round 15. So far, the fight has been relatively easy to score if you like to add tens, because the champion, Carlos Santos, has taken every round.
Talk here in Paris is that if Acaries can beat Santos, Acaries would eventually fight the WBA welterweight champ, Donald Curry, although Curry and Milton McCrory may meet in a unification bout.
I sincerely hope not, for the sake of both fighters, because Curry is head and shoulders above either one of these two fighters. He's one of the coming stars the next few years in boxing is Donald Curry.
Short right hand did not make full contact on Santos. And now Acaries cocking that right hand, showing confidence that he can get it in.
He's showing a completely different style now. Now the gloves are not up in a protective fashion. Now the gloves are down in a punching fashion, which means he's looking to just wail away now. We've got a different challenger now. Luis Acaries, the puncher, has taken over. Look at the difference in the way he jabs. Right hand cocked, ready to go. Look at the difference in Santos. No longer bouncing around, bipping and bopping.
landing with that right hand.
Good right hand under the heart. It kind of takes the legs out. Another right hand low by Acaries. Well, a me or you kind of fighter has emerged from the corner of Luis Acaries. That's a different guy than fought the last 8 rounds.
And we're final seconds. We'll be back in just a moment.
Suspension.
Going away from the peekaboo and taking an early hammering, looking to wait it out against Carlos Santos. Feeling that Santos would tire himself out, and now Acaries looking to land with the right.
Acaries has a terrible habit of every time he gets hit near the ropes, he folds into the ropes. Like it's almost as if giving the impression that a great deal of effectiveness was with the blow. Even if he wasn't hurt, it looks like he was hurt the way he falls into that rope.
Now he looks to use the ropes for spring, but it appeared that he was on his way down.
If that's a style of fighting, it certainly is a poor one. We saw him doing it yesterday in the gym, but I thought he was just kidding around in the gym. That's certainly no habit to cultivate. Right at the end of the last round, Acaries hit Santos a good left hook, which seemed to shake him coming back to the corner, although he shook his head no.
Halfway point, round 10.
If Luis Acaries would, if he would just fire a punch as he comes bouncing back from the ropes, you would see a Hollywood knockout.
Well, this bout has done a 360. It is now Acaries on the attack.
Boy, but Acaries is slow firing off those punches. If he could just put 2 or 3 together, especially when Carlos Santos fades into those ropes. If he could catch him coming back. Santos trying to get back up to what won him the first 8 rounds in a row.
And those flicking punches with no effect at all. Santos, a lot of movement, now back to side, and throwing the jab, but has very little left.
I'd really like to get into the mind of the 3 judges. They are Americans.
Oh, a good right hand by Acaries. Final seconds, 10th round.
Wherever
Santos. And he took a pretty good beating back in this 10th round, and using the ropes for acceleration to get himself back on.
And look at the way Acaries backs off instead of throwing a punch just then.
And this is round 11. Both Santos and Acaries anxious to get it on. Larry Hazard had to hold them up.
Santos seems to have found some new energy here. He certainly came out back. Now right there, trigger off. That's just frustrating. Surely his corner must be telling him, don't stand and watch him come off those ropes. That's just like having an invitation. Please hit me. I'm coming off defenseless.
Combination by Santos getting it.
To
finish the thought I had in the last round, I'd like to get in the heads of the referee and see the judges to see how they measure the difference between a guy that pity pats 10 or 20 punches and a guy that lands 2 or 3 real hard shots that connect. That's always subjective, and therefore unofficially on my scorecard I have my head 98 to 93 is the champion, Carlos Santos.
But in the early rounds, it was strictly Santos. Acaries not punching at all, so you'd have to go with Santos.
Well, absolutely, he just didn't punch at all. I don't think there's a doubt in anybody's mind. Now he's the pursuer, he's the hunted, he lands the stronger blows. It's a different fight right now than what we watched in the first 4 or 5 rounds.
What?
The cut on the right brow is beginning to trickle blood. Chuck Talhammy of Miami working hard on that cut.
Under a minute left. And the 11th round is scheduled for 15. And once again, Louis Acaries holding the hands down low. He was strictly protected first part of this fight. Out of the peekaboo.
Have been butting heads. Hazard said, watch that head.
And Acaries landed the right hand. Santos getting in with the jab.
You know what I don't like about dandruff? Dandruff shampoos. I'm afraid they won't leave my hair the way I like it. This shampoo cares for my hair. It's the only one with a self-balancing formula. Puts dandruff protection where I need it, on my scalp, not on my hair, and it conditions where I need it. Leaves my hair looking and feeling good. Yeah, my shampoo's a dandruff shampoo, but it's today's Head and Shoulders. It cares for my hair.
We all play the small car game to find the biggest value. Guess which hatchback offers the most room?
Renault Encore?
550 Plus, America's best small car protection.
Encore.
Fuel-injected efficiency standard. Twin-rear torsion bars for road-hugging excitement.
Encore.
Play the small car game. You'll find the one with the biggest value. Renault Encore $58.95. Built in America. European design that's affordable. And now 8.5, America's lowest factory financing. Renault.
The Paris version of the Gong Show to get the rounds underway as we open up in this 12th round, slated for 15 from Parc des Princes Stadium. And crowd of 15,000 on hand and rooting for the most part for Louis Acaries, one-time European junior middleweight and middleweight champion. Born in Algeria, now living in Nogent, just outside of Paris. Record of 39-5, 19 by knockout. Going up against the IBF junior middleweight champion, Carlos Santos from Puerto Rico. Record of 27-1, 19 by KO.
Acaries stalking, but Carlos Santos doesn't stay there long enough to become a stationary target. He just keeps moving.
Again, signs of the backhand attempt by Santos. Although Larry Hazard, the referee, let that one go by.
Santos, a well-conditioned fighter, has to be to keep up this kind of a pace. Well, it looks like Acaries can only hope to be hit after the gong and carried out. Is the only way he can win this fight now, although of course it's quite unofficial. We have seen strange things happen over the last few weeks, but this would be one of the strangest if Carlos Santos is not comfortably ahead right now on the scorecard.
Santos backpedaling, obviously slipped.
Acaries apparently has never learned how to punch in bunches. He punches once and just stands there instead of following the punch. He gets in close where he can punch. He can go to the body, and he doesn't.
Looks to load up with that right hand. Occasionally he has, oh, there it is. But it caught the glove of Santos. Occasionally he gets in with the left.
Now, that was the kind of right hand he wanted to land, but nothing much is happening when he lands it.
Again, Santos using the elbow and making contact with Acaries.
When the big Q flows, America goes.
Still beautiful, Dad.
Took your brother through college, take you wherever you want to go.
On Quaker State.
Right. Smooth oil flow is what you want, protects the engine. See, Quaker State starts with Pennsylvania-grade crude, delivers stable viscosity.
You get great protection with the big Q.
Hey, how come you know so much?
From listening to you.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
An American tradition continues. He was the first player in the National League to be named MVP for 2 consecutive seasons. He is Chicago's Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks. Now MVP Ryne Sandberg leads the Cubs as they face the Pirates, or the Dodgers meet the Braves. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
And this is round 13. And Louis Acaries is putting himself into a position where he will lead a knockout.
Well, I think he's been in that position for a little while now. Unofficially, I have it 118 to 111. And Carlos Santos does not seem to give up the idea of moving around. Looks like a bunch of Indians circling a wagon train. The guy is just immobile in the middle.
We're at the Parc des Princes in Paris, France, and just minutes away, the French Open tennis tournament is taking place. There is the women's top seed, Martina Navratilova, on hand to check out the fisticuffs here. French Open on NBC, and our coverage will get underway tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Dick Enberg, Bud Collins calling the shots.
And that lady has got a champion's heart. She is a fighter. Meanwhile, in the ring, you're seeing the difference between fast reflexes and slow, thought-out punching power. Acaries has to think to throw a punch, whereas Santos is just throwing them from all angles non-stop, just triggering them off. No contest when it comes to the reflexes of these two boxers.
Carlos Santos won his IBF crown with that upset win over Mark Vidal in New York last November. And that was a very exciting bout, in contrast to what we have seen here most of the day. But it takes 2 fighters.
Luis Acaries is no Mark Vidal. Mark Vidal has a lot of energy and a lot of talent.
Not to say that Acaries could not land here and ended with a big right hand, but it has not been an interesting bout.
Well, that's what makes boxing interesting. A guy like this can neutralize, like Acaries, can neutralize you with one good shot. And, of course, he's looking desperately to land it. That's his hope. But he has been frustrated to now.
Final seconds. Round 13.
Mom, I'm going to save the world.
That's nice, honey. Wear a sweater.
Alien invaders! Don't fail me, Energizer.
Of all leading batteries, nothing in this galaxy outlasts the Energizer. It is Earth's power source.
Mom, after you save the world, what do you do with the prisoners?
The Energizer, nothing outlasts it. Its power beyond your wildest dreams.
Nissan Sentra owners love to talk about their cars.
I own a 1985 Nissan Sentra, which is bright, perky, red, cute, and I love it.
The Nissan Sentra all around is a very well-engineered car.
And the car has exceeded everything that we expected out of it. I'm 6 feet tall, and small cars are sometimes a problem for me. The Sentra is a different story. It's big on the inside.
Sentra, America's most popular import.
Try and take it away from me.
The name is Nissan.
14e reprise.
And this is round 14. Carlos Santos now back to his shifting from side to side and looking to come to life as they open up the 14th. And Santos back on the attack and again is warned about the backhand maneuver.
Wondering when Hazard's going to get tired of that and take a round away from Carlos Santos. He certainly has got a few to spare. Good body shot by Santos that time.
Santos, who seemed to tire in the middle rounds, worn down by using Louis Acaries as a punching bag, now showing some steam.
And conversely, Louis Acaries went back up to that peekaboo style again and abandoned the all-out attack. A corner can't possibly think he's in this fight. Therefore, I'm wondering why the defensive tactics.
And Santos continues to paint Acaries. Every so often, Acaries will load up and look to throw that big right hand.
Hazard's warning to Santos, keep him up. They were not flagrantly low punches.
Santos right back effectively, following the attack by Acaries.
Well, he's not hurting Acaries, but Acaries just can't find him. Look at that. By the time he wound up to throw that, Acaries was all the way down to Champs-Élysées. He was so far away from him.
Under a minute left in this 14th round. And Santos continues to step in, pop, and then stay outside.
For some unknown reason, they have turned on the lights in the upper deck as if to try to get a landing beacon in for Acaries. Maybe something will help him get that punch in there. Right now, Santos continues to bewilder and pummel him.
Effective combinations by Carlos Santos to conclude this 14th round.
Finally, you can be more carefree, even a little sloppy, painting windows. All because of new Glass Mask from Wagner. Glass Mask is a liquid that glides on easy as that. And when you're done painting, glides right off. So you needn't worry about a little slip-up here and there. New Wagner Glass Mask. And for masking everything else, Wagner Mask It.
If he sinks this putt, he wins the tournament.
Hold it! Can anyone here name a copier maker that's bigger than Ricoh? Xerox. Ricoh's bigger.
IBM?
Ricoh's bigger. And we got to be bigger than Xerox by making a full line of copiers that win top marks for quality.
Illuminating.
Now, are you still overlooking Ricoh? Call Ricoh. We respond.
That's a gimme.
Welcome back to Paris, France, the Parc des Princes Stadium, site of the European Cup Soccer Championship last year, and the site of Carlos Santos and Louis Acaries. Marv Albert with the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. It is all Santos. He did have a down period, rounds 8, 9, and 10, but has picked it right back up after beginning a very strong fashion against Acaries.
Well, if they told him to take it easy, he sure is not taking it easy. At best, I don't think Acaries could have won more than 3 rounds of this fight thus far, but he continues. Carlos does to seek the knockout.
In his upset victory over Mark Maddow, Santos changed his reputation from runner to a hitter, and he has been the man unleashing most of this bout.
Well, he's savoring an easy victory here. He certainly can outspeed this man, and Acaries, for his part, should just stand his ground and flail away because it's the only chance he's got. This defensive posture that he's in is just one that indicates he's resigned and just wants to make it to the distance.
Just past the halfway mark, 15th and final round. And apparently the solution that Acaries discussed earlier was to wait it out and then try to land, thinking that Santos would tire himself out. It has not worked.
Well, the best laid plans. It is difficult to know what's going to happen to you when you get into that ring. You have the good fighters are the ones that can vary their game plan and adjust to the situation. Acaries was not able to adjust to Carlos Santos.
And we're coming up on 30 seconds left in the fight. So Carlos Santos, the IBF Junior Middleweight champion, providing all kinds of problems for the French favorite, Louis Acaries, and it should be a clear-cut decision for Santos. Final seconds in this final round. And that will do it. So they go the distance. And as the Santos corner celebrates, we'll be back with the official decision after these messages.
I'm 32 years old, and I love Kellogg's Frosted Flakes.
Brave adults are coming forward to challenge the notion that Frosted Flakes is just a kid's cereal.
I know there's a tiger in the box. I like the taste, okay?
Because you love them as a kid doesn't mean you can't love them as an adult.
One day, our neighbor saw the package on the table.
And we don't even have children.
With that extra crunch and milk, that frosting just right, that taste as great as ever.
Well, they've always been my favorite. So dig in. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
Introducing the amazing Minolta Maxim, the world's easiest SLR, because it alone has built-in automatic focusing. Look, Maxim's autofocus lets you get perfect shots before others can even focus. Change lenses. Maxim again gets the shots that used to get away.
Only the human eye focuses faster.
Minolta Maxim.
Only from the mind of Minolta. America tells you when you're doing it right.
I wrote to Lee Iacocca and I said to him, please don't change it. I love it just as it is.
I love our Plymouth Voyager. It's nice to have all this room when we go on trips. Nobody's fighting.
It's like a bottomless pit. You just keep putting stuff in.
One finger, up, let go, watch it sail to the top. No effort.
It's terrific on the road.
The Plymouth Voyager is so comfortable. We sold the Cadillac.
Plymouth, we're doing it right.
When do you say L.A.?
When I've got an afternoon of painting ahead of me, I say L.A.
Think it needs 2 coats?
Nah.
When do you say L.A.?
When it's open house and I'm the host, I say L.A.
Stu?
Bob.
so.
But I'll change it.
From Anheuser-Busch, L.A. beer. Great taste with half the alcohol. Sometimes it's the perfect thing to say.
You can say that again.
Stew?
No, clam dip.
L.A. Sometimes it's the perfect thing to say.
Next week on Sports World, an array of championships. It's red-hot competition at the renowned British Grand Prix Motorcycle Championship. You'll see top bikers battle it out at Silverstone, locked in wheel-to-wheel 500cc combat. And from the playing fields of the Emerald Isle, it's the fiercely fought All-Ireland Hurling Championship. Rich in tradition and regional pride, the national bragging rights are on the line in this final showdown between County Cork and County Offaly. Plus a blue sky delight, the International Skydiving Championship. Thrills abound in this free-falling aerobatic team competition. That's all next Sunday right here on NBC Sports World.
Well, the Fight Doctor scorecard had it clear-cut 148-138 for Carlos Santos. Now we're set for the official word. Well, let's go to the ring.
Acaries. Carlos Santos, please. Copy. Luis. Carlos Santos, Well,
they're not running down the individual scorecard, but I can tell you Larry Wallace had it 147-139 for Santos. Chuck Finger, 147-138 for Santos, and a surprising card from Rudy Battle had it only 1 point in Santos' favor, 143-142, but it is a unanimous decision. Carlos Santos successfully defending his IBF junior middleweight crown over Louis Acaries. And the Fight Doctor in the ring alongside Carlos Santos.
Peleaste muy bien, ganaste casi todos los rounds. ¿Pensaste que iba a ser tan fácil?
No, no pensé que iba a ser tan fácil, ya que me dicen que él es fuerte, pero que en los primeros rounds me cansé un poco, pero cogí el aire bajando.
I said he took almost every round. Did you think it was going to be that easy? He said no. I thought this guy was trying to get me tired, and I got tired in the middle, but I came back. En lo último estabas tan fuerte como siempre.
Me vi más fuerte que en el primer round.
He said at the 15th round he was stronger than he was at the first round because he was in such good shape he was ready to go 20. ¿Usted creía, estaba tratando para el knockout en el último
round? En el último round, porque lo vi flojo y yo estaba bien, es fuerte.
I asked him, did he go for a knockout in that last round? And he said, yes. I saw him tire and for the first time feel my punch. I went for it, but I couldn't get him. He was a tough and determined challenger. ¿Y ahora qué?
Bueno, ahora esperamos que los managers me busquen otro.
All right, and now what? He said, we want anybody we can for the title. We're the champion. We're ready to fight. And so from Paris, I send it back to Marv Albert at ringside in Paris.
All right, Ferdy, Carlos Santos over Louis Acaries in a no question about it, although still difficult to understand the